CGI Business Solutions, located at 5 Dartmouth Drive in Auburn. They serve all your business needs, including employee benefits planning, corporate design and business administration, investments and wealth management, and customized business insurance solutions. Their phone number is 866-841-4600 or on the web at cgibusinesssolutions.com.
You are listening to WMNHLP.
Good evening and welcome to Rock, Paper, Hand Grenades. I'm your host, Joshua Solomon. With me as always is the Honorable J.P. Marzullo. Welcome back from our summer break.
It was fun, though.
It was fun.
But I kind of missed this, believe it or not.
Do you really?
Yeah, I did, because it's fun doing this, too. Yeah. So I like that.
Yeah, but it's also nice to take a break.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. I agree with you 100% on that.
As always, Rock, Paper, Hand Grenades is sponsored by the Wilson Hill Pistol Club, the oldest sports shooting club in New Hampshire, located right here in Manchester at 1732 Lakeshore Road. Our monthly membership meeting is the first Wednesday of every month, which is today at 7 p.m. All are welcome. We have open membership. We do not have a waiting list. You can reach us at wilsonhillpistol.org, where you can go and check out our training calendar. And our next training is on the 15th, Saturday of August. It's the FAST training, Fundamentals and Safety Training, FAST handgun training. It's a basic handgun course.
So you, I just heard you do that really quick, you know. Yeah. Are you the same guy that comes at the end of some, you know, some programs or stuff that really talks fast?
No, that's just what comes from doing this for, what, 8 years?
Oh, okay. Well, I was just curious because that's a great gig.
So what did you do? I did all kinds of things in July. What did you do in July?
I finished some cardiac rehab in July.
Okay. So you're all done?
I'm all done, but I'm working out.
You ready to run?
Not run, maybe, but I've been working out at New England College Athletic Department. So I do 3 days a week there, and I do about a half hour on a recumbent bike, and then I do about 5 minutes on a treadmill because my knees quit on me. The recumbent bike, I could probably go longer. So I'm feeling good. When I had the situation, I was 143, and now I'm up to almost 160.
Oh, so you're going up? I'm going down.
I know you are. And you look good, too. But, yeah, so I'm at a weight now that I like, and it's taken me a little while to get there. But I don't think we did much of anything, really. Just kind of hung out and tried to enjoy the hot weather until we got our electric bill today, which was not good. Between that and paying for the school taxes, it's like, you know, I need a full-time job.
Yeah.
Somehow. But I don't want to work at it. That's the problem.
Well, I did a lot of flying all over New England.
Yeah.
I did get kidnapped by aliens.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh,
and
good.
they are very rude. They're very rude. But, and I don't remember much, but they did tell me that I'm cancer-free, and then they threw me out and said somebody else had to drive me home. So,
nice. Congrats. That's awesome. Aliens. Okay.
You know,
well, yeah, I can believe in
your
it. Didn't you know that
That's what aliens do, right?
Our guests are trying not to laugh, so you better introduce them.
Our guests know we have fun on this show.
We're family. Exactly.
Our guest
How about these
tonight,
nice pens?
Senator Howard Pearl and his wife Heather, returning guests. How are you guys doing?
We're doing wonderful.
We didn't get abducted.
And
by
Heather's a
aliens.
nurse, so she knows exactly what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Not
yeah.
yet.
She's on her way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got 3 years to go.
That's okay.
These are really nice pens.
They are beautiful in a lovely color.
And you can buy them at $5 a pen so anyway.
Excellent.
So it sounds like you guys had a great summer. Thanks for having us back.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, it was really nice taking the time off.
Good. Yeah, good.
Good.
Give us a chance to relax a little bit.
We have not had any time.
No, you're busier than anything right
Every
now.
time you're on, we're talking about just how incredibly busy you folks are. Do you get to take vacations? I mean, it's you got to go to Cabo or
Could you define
Costa
a
Rica.
vacation?
Yeah. Leave the state and forget about work.
Yes.
We
We
did
did a
like
little.
yeah,
we
we
went to
did
Puerto
like
Rico last December.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For
In
3
last
days.
December,
4 days.
not in July.
Get down south during the cold time.
Yeah. Sometimes we time that with a convention that I want to attend. For last time it was one related to gaming. They had a convention in Puerto Rico, which worked out well. We went there, spent a little
perfect.
extra time.
I got a vacation.
You had a vacation, right?
He did not.
Yeah, he was
Sort
still
of.
working.
Sort of. I had to
Sort
attend a
of.
few seminars.
Yeah,
It's
so
good.
That's great. Yeah, I don't think you don't get any time off. The best I can figure between being a state
yeah.
senator and being a farmer.
The slowest time is November, December in a non-election year.
In the non-election.
So you get
are
a
there-
break every other year.
Yeah, I like to do some hunting, so I make time in November to.
Yeah.
That's kind of a break for me, but we do get some vacation time too. We always make sure we do something at least once a year,
In
Yeah.
December, yeah.
and then we'll do some shorter stuff. We went to Portland, Maine, for a couple of nights at our
Yeah.
anniversary.
Yeah,
and
that's fun.
things like that.
Yeah, our anniversary is next week, and it's been 42 wonderful years.
Congratulations.
Well, we are half of that, 4 years.
You took half of the
Well,
numbers.
42, 4, and the 2.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we've done some really.
I don't know if I want you being on the finance committee or anywhere near it.
Well, I didn't exactly say how I was breaking the number.
It's
There's
the
2
number
numbers, and I
itself.
used one of them. That's half.
Yeah,
right, Joe?
exactly. It's half of the 2 numbers. So, welcome back, everybody. I hope you're still with us.
It's going to be a quick hour. Isn't it?
Of course it is.
See, this is why we come on the first Wednesday night, because we know it's only going to be an hour, because Josh has to leave and go to another meeting.
And there are no
We get kicked
aliens
out of here
involved.
anyway by Will and Joe.
Oh, all right.
We don't
all
have
right.
much of a
Fair enough.
choice. Yeah, so that's cool.
So, obviously, state senator, what's been going on for the summer? Not much, or
Been a fairly quiet summer. I mean, it's an election year, so I mean, we have the usual things we have to attend, the different commissions and committees and things that we're on. Although I must say, this summer I have missed many of them because I've been so busy at the farm. The last, what was it, June 4th? I think our last day was. I honestly walked up the door and walked right into a tractor, and it feels like that's all I've done all summer.
Yeah.
It's just between weather and breakdowns and things like that. We've been a little out of sync, and it's just been hard to get things going. But good news is we started picking corn this morning.
Yeah.
We've been picking a lot of summer and zucchini squash for
Every day.
just over a month now.
so you just started the corn harvest
This morning.
today?
Yes,
So
this morning.
Are you harvesting by hand or by tractor, or how do you harvest your farm? I
Yeah.
know out west they got the gigantic combines
Sure.
and whatnot. How do you do
So,
it
so
up
that's
here?
different. We're harvesting the ear, obviously. So we have a machine that actually picks the ear, grinds up the stalk, and then sends the ear up a conveyor belt and onto a trailer, and then we hand sort and pack. And I'm always calling on Heather and the girls or whomever I can find, come get on the trailer with me, and because it makes it go a lot faster. It's hard to do alone. But
So I had a question, and it was specifically about harvesting the corn and the stalk that's left over.
Yeah.
What happens to that?
so in sweet corn,
Because a cornfield, when you see a cornfield that's about to be harvested, you got stalks that are 6-8 feet tall, and it just covers field. I mean, there's a lot of brush there. So
Yeah.
what happens to all of that after the harvest? Because it's got to get cleared out and go somewhere.
Sure, a couple different things can happen, depending on your harvest process and what your end goal is. We don't want the stalks. We don't use them. We grind them up through the machine and back. They go back on the ground, and then we do a light tillage to kind of incorporate them into the topsoil. Then we let them decompose for green manure for the next season.
So it just goes right back
Yep.
into the ground?
Now you can, sometimes we'll hand pick a section and leave the stalks, and we'll cut them for corn bundles for decorations, like what you see at the farm stands and stores. And some farms will hand pick all of it, and they'll put it through a chopper and feed it to their cattle. It's a little bit lower grade feed without the ears, because you don't have that energy that's in the ears. All you have is the stalk itself, which, depending on how far along they've got, how long you let it stand after, it can become mostly just filler, but there's some nutritional value to it.
Now, is the same type of process with all of the other crops, like the leftover, after you've taken the squash and whatever fruit of whatever you're growing, you just grind it back into the ground?
So the produce that we pick, I was telling JP beforehand off air, the last few years we've been actually raising some pigs, because if you're going to grow for a full market, you're going to have some extra. Because in order to have 100% of what everybody wants, you always have to have a little more than that. And so we've take our excess or our cull squash, things that don't make sale grade, and they all go into the pigs. That's our winter vegetable eating program. So
Or
we
the
take
other
these-
animals.
Yeah, that's true. They said do some that goes to the chickens too.
You still have turkeys?
Chickens and turkeys and ducks, yeah.
Oh, my.
Geese,
Yes, and geese,
guinea hens.
and guinea hens.
But anyway, that's our winter vegetable program. I'm going to eat my winter vegetables in the form of pork, ham, and sausage.
And bacon.
And bacon. For sure. So you had a question. That was your question?
That
you
was
wanted
my
to know?
question.
All
I
right.
was like, what happens to all the brush after you've picked the corn? The corn just has so much left over,
So there are-
more so than other crops.
There are some concerns with it. You have to be careful, because anytime you leave that type of material on the ground, that's why we lightly disc it in, because if you leave it on top of the ground, you're asking for, some of the insects could overwinter and become a problem the next year. But by putting it into the ground, you eliminate a lot of that. And so
Tillage.
it creates a winter habitat for them.
I just didn't know if it was waste, if it's, usable, or...
It provides what's called green manure. It'll provide a few units of nitrogen as it decomposes in the soil. And the other thing it does is it provides some ability for the soil not to wash, because you've got that trash in the soil, and it kind of holds it together.
Do you rotate your crops to different fields? Like we learn in school the whole idea of not over farming a particular
Sure.
piece of land and then rotating. Do you do that?
We do. I mean, some of our land is not suitable to be tilled. In other words, it's going to be hayland. It could be too wet. It could be too steep. We live on a hill. Our farm is on top of a hill, and a lot of the land has hills in it. So we have to be somewhat selective about what land we actually till, because erosion control is a big concern for us. But yes, we do. We move crops around from corn to pumpkins and squash, especially the pumpkins and squash. You really don't want to raise them on the same ground more than 2 or 3 years in a row if you can avoid it, for disease control things more than anything, and weed control issues. So if I have a field that has and it's in pumpkins and squash and has a real weed control issue, I will move it over into corn for a few years, where I can work on controlling those weeds and getting them under control.
Does that then become non-usable, or do you move the corn into it? Or
No,
do
we
you-
move corn into it, and then I can control the weeds with the different herbicide package because corn is much more, has much more of an ability to use different herbicides. It's in the grass family, whereas a lot of the other things we raise are in the broadleaf family, the cucurbits. So.
There's a lot of science to it.
Yeah, I guess I've done years enough. You kind of learn what works and what doesn't for you, and for your farm and for the soil that you farm.
So how much did you plant this year then?
So we've cut way back from what I used to be. I used to grow close to 100 acres of sweet corn and about 14 or 15 acres of smaller produce. Starting about 2019, we started seeing real issues getting labor. and that was a concern. So we started downsizing. I mean, my whole adult life, I had gotten bigger and bigger and bigger every year. And by the time I got to 2019, I was well into my 50s and realizing that my body was getting tired, for one, and I didn't have a good succession plan. My kids were not interested in farming, and I was starting to lose the associated help that I needed to maintain that level. So I started cutting back, and we've cut back now, so we're raising, excuse me, roughly, we're about 10% of what I used to raise.
Wow.
But honestly, it's down to a level that Heather and I and the kids, when we can use them, and I have one part-time hired man, that we can handle, and that's important.
Yeah.
You know, Heather has a full-time obligations with her career as well, and she's very gracious about her time of getting up this morning. She didn't have to be at the hospital, but she got up and helped me pick produce. And so that just makes it doable.
Get my days off, I help on the farm.
Those are her days off.
Or after I'm done helping him on the farm, I'll work at my own private practice and then,
Right.
but either way.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that's not the biggest part of your day, for the most part. It's probably a large part of it, but then you go to the State House as a senator, and you're there for, I'm guessing, at least 10 hours or more, knowing you, because you want to do it right, but I'm sure you're there for a long time. So what's going on now? I know we have veto day coming
Sure,
up. What are
we
the
do.
big vetoes that people are going to be voting on? And, you know, what do you have coming down the pike?
Sure. Well, the good news is, if you look at the way our government is structured, it was structured around the agrarian calendar, really.
Right.
And it was made so that when we were in the summer, that the legislature was on break because they were all farmers back in the day. So kind of works for me most of the time. My conflict really between the Senate and farm is more from maple season, like from February to the beginning of June, or sometime in June, depending on whether it's a budget year or not. But that's more of my conflict of time. This time of year, we're not doing a lot on the Senate side. We're on summer break. Now, that doesn't mean we don't have constituent issues to work on.
Sure.
and things like that. And bill signings, we attended a bill signing the other day all the way up in Dalton, so that killed several hours. And again, thankfully, Heather was able to come with me. And
Which one was that?
House Bill 707, dealing with the landfill siting
Yep.
process. That was one that I spent a tremendous amount of time on, trying to
You finally got it
find a
through.
path forward. We finally found something that we could get consensus enough to get it through and get the governor to sign.
Awesome.
That was a bill that consumed probably 100 hours of my time, that one bill.
Yeah.
So that's like a penny an hour or something.
Yeah, but
Not even.
that's just one bill.
I know.
But, we figure it out, we make it work. And again, I couldn't do this if it wasn't for her and my family. They fill in and help where they need to so that I can
Yeah.
sometimes be there at the State House. January to June, I try to have to prioritize the Senate first, and I slide the farm in around her. From the end of session in June to about October, it's the other way around. The farm has to be my priority, and I slide the Senate stuff in around it.
Right.
In fact, you talked about veto day. Veto day has been moved from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. because I said I can't be there at 10 a.m. I'm busy doing
Farming.
Farming.
So we've changed the time to 1 p.m. to accommodate
great.
my schedule as a farmer.
That's great.
I guess the biggest bill probably that's coming up is going to be the 10-year plan. That is going to be one that we're going to really have to take a look at. The governor has vetoed many bills that we passed through the legislature. I don't have a number, but it's quite a few. And, that's how our system works. I would say in most cases, the governor and the Republicans in the Senate and the House are generally on the same page, but there are times we have disagreements. And we're just going to have to work harder another year on some of these bills and make sure we get that language tweaked to
Yeah, I
something
was
the
just
governor
gonna
can
say that.
support.
Yeah, it's typically the language, it's not necessarily the overall bill.
The devil's in the details.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you
Exactly.
think there's any chance of overriding any of them?
That's, I guess my feeling is
Slim margins and
probably the only one that I think really maybe we have to really consider seriously is the 10-year highway plan. I think we're going to have to really look at that. Again, I understand the governor has issues, and I'll have to read through all of her veto messages. I have on some of the ones. There's a couple of agriculture-related bills that we just have a difference of opinion on. I may view things a bit differently, and perhaps I didn't do my homework enough with educating the governor on why I felt these were important. But again, we'll work on them. There's another year. We'll have more conversations and see if we can get the language in a manner that she's able to support as well as the legislature. It's important.
Tell us about the highway bill. Tell us some details about what is the 10-year plan? What is the...
So I don't have all the details of what's in it. It's a very comprehensive plan, actually. But I can tell you the one detail that she was hung up on was the raising the toll for out-of-state folks coming in. All the other states do it to us when we travel. We pay more than their residents, and we decided that we needed to raise some funding to help pay for our highways. And we thought, well, we're going to implement sort of a similar plan. We're not going to raise tolls on the citizens of New Hampshire. They're paying enough. But we'll take advantage of the folks that are coming through to raise some funding.
And how would you manage that? Just from the electronic tolling?
Easy Pass.
From
Easy Pass.
Yeah, Easy Pass.
But not everybody gets an Easy Pass.
That's true, and so we were able to figure out a way that if they went through the readers and they had a New Hampshire plate, that they wouldn't see the higher rate. I don't have all of the details. I will tell you it's a bill I remember coming through when we talked about some in caucus, but it's not one that I personally worked on. That went through the Transportation Department. Senator McConkey would be one that you want to bring in if you really want to have a real detailed dive into what the workings are. That has been something he's worked on for many years when he was in the House and also when he's been in the Senate.
I thought the raising of the tolls on out-of-staters, you said other states have done it to us. I thought that was just a rumor, or I didn't think that was actually put in place yet.
Oh yeah, you're paying more in other states when you travel around New England than their residents do. So we just felt that was an area that we would, that we needed to raise a little extra funding coming into the coming years, and we thought that was an area that would be a way we could do it without impacting New Hampshire citizens. We want to, we're trying to make sure to keep the New Hampshire advantage, and I guess that was the concern the governor had, is she didn't want to do anything to put any kind of damper on folks traveling, but in and out. This tourism's a big fundraiser for us on our meals and rooms tax.
If you've ever been on 93
on a Friday afternoon,
or a Sunday morning,
yes,
yeah, that's a lot of out-of-state plates.
Yeah, and so my opinion is that's one we're probably going to have a very serious. I don't personally feel it'd make a difference. The small increase that we were proposing, I don't think would. But the governor had a different opinion, so we're going to have to sit down as a legislature and look at it again and see if we have the support to disagree with the governor. That's the prerogative. That's the way our process works.
Yeah.
We have to get a 2/3 vote. It's a higher bar than just passing a bill. So I think that's probably the one bill that is going to get the most serious consideration about an override. There's others we're going to have to look at and have a discussion about, for sure.
So I have a question. So the Democrats will tell you how you can pay for it. They're going to tax you. And I saw your campaign ad on Facebook
that
today.
just came out today.
Yeah, and that was awesome. And
Good.
Maybe you can repeat what you were saying, because I think everybody needs to hear how they're going to do it.
Yeah, the gist of the ad is the Democrats proposed $2 billion in new spending with no ability to pay for it. They had no ideas for revenue. So, it doesn't take me, I'm not a rocket scientist, it doesn't take long for me to figure out how they're going to pay for it. They're going to increase your tax rates. They're going to have their hand in your pocket, and that's not the New Hampshire way.
Yeah.
And that is not palatable. I mean, one of these proposals that you saw about the increase in the education property tax, the education tax that they wanted to do, that would amount to almost $2,000 on every family's home if that were to be put in the way that it was proposed.
Yeah, it's hard enough now, really, for us who are senior members now, and it's difficult between
working families, not just senior members. Everybody's struggling right now.
Yeah.
You talked a little bit before we went on air about energy rates. That's another one we're trying to.
Yeah, our electricity is out of sight right now.
The volatility in the fossil fuel market has created that volatility in the energy market, and that's a challenge for us. We're trying to work on a long-term energy plan that is sort of, all options available. We'll look at renewables, we'll look at fossil fuels, we'll look at nuclear.
Yeah.
And we'll see what's going to get us there, because we've relied too long on natural gas and the hope that that pipeline would come through, and you've got the state of New York that essentially is blocking us. And it's keeping our Northeast prices incredibly high, because we can't get that free-flowing supply of natural gas that you'd then be able to do some cheaper energy generation. I mean, the energy grid is very complicated. You'd need more than an hour show and someone else besides me to explain it to you. I know the highlights, but New Hampshire is not an independent state when it comes to an energy pricing. We're on a New England grid.
Right.
And so things that other states do sometimes impact our rates, especially when they were paying more for these renewable energy standards that they were putting in and requirements. It was driving the energy rate up for even us here in New Hampshire. And so we've had to look at that and understand, and we're trying to find a way to get energy rates down and make New Hampshire attractive for generation. But it's a challenge. It's a real challenge.
Yeah, I'm not sure where you go, but you're right. Looking into nuclear, I would think, would be a big step. And some of the other things you mentioned, I mean, I'm not a big fan of windmills. I don't know how much they generate. I don't know how much the solar panels.
They sit idle for way too long. Like I mentioned earlier, I've done a lot of flying over New Hampshire over the last several months, and I see windmills on the top of mountains that just aren't moving, period.
And I don't disagree with you. I think
Hundreds
the message we wanted out is, look, we're open to whatever it is that we have to do to bring our energy rates down. We want to look at that. New Hampshire
Look at everything.
is all options on the table.
Yeah.
We've got to figure that out. It's something we need to continue to work on. We've been working on it. We need to continue to.
Do you have any bills that you put through that are on her desk right now, or do you have?
I don't.
Or do you get any?
She has vetoed. She's vetoed at least two of mine. Again, they're not bills that I'm probably going to push on right now. We just have I think probably I needed to do a better job educating, herself and her staff as to why I felt these were important issues, and so I'll take that on myself. That piece of it. We just. She didn't agree with the position of the legislature, and again, that's our process.
Right.
That's our process.
Yeah. And hopefully she sits in that seat next time as well.
We need her to.
Yeah. Even with the veto stuff, I mean, I still feel the same way. We've talked about this on the air. We have to maintain our strengths for the residents of the state.
Yeah, I'm okay with disagreement. We'll have civil discourse. We'll have a respectful conversation about that, and we'll see if we can find a path forward.
Yep.
And that is our process. It's worked well for 250 years, and I think it worked well for 250 more.
Yeah.
But we have to keep talking to each other.
Sure.
So speaking of that, we're in a campaign year.
Yes.
Good
segue.
We need to keep her in the corner office. And we need to keep you in there as well.
Well, that's the plan. I signed up again.
Did you?
I did.
So how's that going? You're just running for Senate. You're not running for like president of Senate or whatever.
No. Right now, we're running. I'm running for the Senate, and Heather is also on the ballot this year.
Yeah.
She's running for a state delegate seat.
I saw that,
which is kind of neat. That's one of those positions where it doesn't get a lot of press. But it's a very important position because that's what sets our policy for the Republican Party for the coming 2 years, and that's what helps guide us who are candidates for running. So it's an incredibly important position.
For the state party?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the next step.
The only position I was ever elected to was
delegate. Yeah.
But you can take that wherever you want to.
It's the only campaign I ever ran either. So.
So I see that someone has stepped up to primary you, which I've never understood. When you have a strong person in a position, I mean, they certainly have the right to do that.
Sure.
But it just seems to me a little strange that you get people doing that.
Well, listen, it's the process. It's our process how it works, and I will say kudos to anyone who feels that the issues that they believe in and aren't getting represented the way they believe. I'll say kudos to anyone that will step out and put their name on the ballot.
Sure,
because,
absolutely.
Even if you don't get elected, what it does do is it helps move forward those issues where you have concerns. It gives you a platform to highlight those issues. And
Yep.
whether you're successful in being elected, I've run elections where I wasn't successful before, but it helps you learn the process, and it helps you move those issues forward that you feel are important enough for you to step up and put your name on the ballot. So I don't ever hold it against anyone. I've had primaries in the past, and I will continue to
So
be
what area,
myself and
what
represent
area
what I
do you cover? What are some of the towns that people might know?
Sure.
They may not be able to vote for you, but they have people in those areas they know, family and stuff like that.
Yeah, I
So-
hold District 17, which
Yep.
has 12 communities that run from Northfield all the way down to Nottingham, essentially down the east side of Concord through.
Okay.
I live in, we live in Loudon, Canterbury, Barnstead, Northfield, Allenstown, Pembroke, Deerfield, Northwood, Nottingham.
That's
Did I
a
miss
lot of
any?
canvassing to do.
Chichester. In
What was the
Pittsfield,
last one?
Chichester and Pittsfield. Yeah,
Oh.
and I think that's all 12.
Yeah, when I took that step at the same time you did,
Yes.
running for Senate, I had 29 towns. It was insane.
Yes, you have a lot of small ones.
Yeah,
And
and-
Senator Roachford, who covers the North Country, gosh,
Yeah.
I can't remember, 50 or 60 communities
Yeah,
that he
it's
has to
crazy.
represent.
And it's not easy, unless you live in a city, you can't see 200 people in a day.
Right.
It'll take you an hour to just get up some of the driveways. Really.
These aren't great door knocking communities. They
No.
really aren't. I mean, that type of canvassing works well in more of the
Yeah, like Manchester.
high population
Yep.
residential areas,
Yep.
certainly, because you can walk house to house to house.
Yeah.
Kind of like trick or treating, You wouldn't go trick or treating really up on Loudon Ridge.
No.
because if you walked from house to house, you did about 3 of them before you were exhausted.
I did that in Ware when I was running for selection. And, I had a map of the entire town. Like, how am I going to canvass the entire town? And so you take and you do strategic areas,
Yes.
but you still get exhausted. Like you said, it only takes 2 or 3 houses to say, what am I doing?
Yeah,
I think that's the hardest part about campaigning in New Hampshire, which
is.
is basically a state full of small towns.
Yeah.
Old home days are great. Any type of community events are great.
Yeah.
We try to attend all of those and go in the parades. Heather will come, and the girls will come, and we hand out
The
some
parades.
literature or candy
Yeah.
or whatever. Depends on the parade.
Yeah.
Each community's a little different. Old home days are great. You can
Yeah.
go visit with people. I do mailers and a lot of signs. Those are kind of the way that you get the message out.
Yeah. And once you're on the ballot, it's name recognition at that point.
Well, certainly being an incumbent helps.
Yeah.
And I've encouraged folks who've expressed an interest at someday holding a state office, get your name on the ballot, hold a town office. Get used to people voting for you, for one, and get used to running an election for another, and get used to the process of, being in a meeting and the process of how government works. Because these offices at the municipal level, local level, are incredibly important. You look at your property tax bill, which is one of the higher issues that we've had, for discussion on the campaign trail this year. In most communities, 65 to 70% of that property tax bill is your school board
Yes.
and the school assessment.
Yep.
And that has nothing to do with
The state.
what we set for policy at state.
No.
That is all set at your school board.
Yep.
And that's the biggest portion of your property tax bill.
Yep.
Another portion is your county bill. A lot of folks don't know that your
Yep.
state reps are actually your county delegation, not
Yep.
us in the Senate.
Right.
But the state reps are your county delegation, and they
Yep.
go in and vote your county budget through.
Yeah.
Those are important aspects about what your property bill makeup is. Your local
Sure.
community is generally a smaller part of it.
Yeah, I think we had more success in the county when I was a state rep because we were in a
Yeah.
minority. So
Yeah.
we could stop some things or change some things on the county level that we couldn't get done at the state house. So I think that's something people need to understand. I always hear the same thing. You can just scroll on Facebook and everybody says, the state's got to bring our property tax
Yeah.
down. And I'll say, no, you have to go to the town meetings and get your town to
Well,
not.
your school board meetings
But
really
school
are-
board meetings are the biggest ones.
So there's a big vote coming up this year. We passed a
That the
bill, and the
cap-
governor just signed it. Yeah, House Bill 1300
Yep.
is going to put the property tax cap on your November ballot. So it's going to be incredibly important for people to get out for this election in November. Not only are you voting for your federal delegation, for for state senate, for U.S. Senate and U.S. House, and your state senate and executive counselors and your House reps, but you get a chance to vote on this property tax cap too.
And so, but this isn't a hard cap, right? This says we're voting so that my town will have a cap, right? It's not putting a cap.
Yeah, I got to remember the details on it, and I apologize.
So,
It's been a
because
while
it's
since
like,
I read it.
Because if it doesn't pass for your town, or is this statewide?
No, this is not statewide. Each community will have their voice on it.
Each community gets, and so whatever the outcome in your community,
Correct.
that's how it's going to happen.
But it's on the
for your
ballot
town.
for your community to vote on, whether
Right.
you're going to, put that cap in place. And there are triggers on it, and I apologize, I don't remember all of the details on it. There's some triggers within the cap that have to occur, but this is going to be a great opportunity for the everyday person to get out on the general election ballot, where you see a much higher turnout than you do typically on like a town meeting.
Right.
And this will be a chance for them to get their voice out there. If they're frustrated with property taxes, this is an opportunity for you to say, hold on a minute. We need to really slow down and
But
take a look at things.
even if my town votes for it, it still doesn't put the restriction on the school board yet, right? Because we now have to, at the town level, decide what that cap is going to be, and
I believe that's accurate, Josh, but
there's-
I'm going to have to go back and
So
read it
it's-
again before I can fill in the details.
I'm not poo-pooing it.
Yeah.
I mean, I absolutely want some
Right.
control, because these school boards are out of control. My taxes, I've lived in this particular house for 8 years. My taxes have gone up at least $1,000 a year, because the school board keeps throwing more money, and complaining that the state is not putting in enough, yet the state is putting in more money as we go.
Do you know, we
New
contributed
Hampshire
over $2
is-
billion in this last budget.
New
billion?
Hampshire is
Yes.
number 4 in the country as far as the highest per student
Student number.
Yep.
spending,
Yep.
right? And that's the state level spending,
Yes.
right? So this illusion that the state is not funding our education is complete garbage.
Well, and you're seeing a
Everything that's
declining
happening is
enrollment
because
rate,
of the
too.
waste at the local school board level, and you're absolutely right. If you look at it, we're going up in spending, but the enrollment's going down, and they say, we want more,
Yeah.
and yet we're still graduating students with less than 50% in English, math, science, proficiency is the word.
We need
Less
to,
than 50%
we need to
proficiency in
really
all
take a
the
look at our
subjects.
education system. Not only just the funding, but the outcomes. We're seeing those undesirable outcomes that you're talking about. They're underperforming, and we're seeing that. And, as a
But
Republican.
we need accountability.
I
Like
agree.
the school boards and the teachers and the principals, there's no accountability. They get more money every year. The teachers' contracts are negotiated in private
By a professional.
by professional lawyers negotiating with non-professional selectmen, right? Just regular average people.
Well, it's
who-
your school board,
Well, school board,
Yeah.
and it's all done in private for the sake of, keeping individual.
Non-public record.
Right, but
Right,
that's garbage, because you can negotiate salaries for people at certain levels without naming names, without exposing social security numbers. You can do all that negotiation. What angers me is that all of that negotiation is done, again, with professionals from the national, the NEA,
Yep.
with local non-professional negotiators, and it is a private entity, right, the teachers union, negotiating for public money. That's what angers me, right? If a private entity wants to have a private negotiation with a private company for private money, let it be private. I don't care. But you're negotiating for public tax dollars, my money.
Right.
Those negotiations need to be open.
Well, listen, Josh, I've heard this frustration expressed by many folks as we've talked to them about.
Because as soon as they are open, they won't be getting anywhere near as much money as they are, because they're getting a 5-10% salary raise every year, and the people paying those raises aren't getting their regular 3% or even less through this economy.
I think think we've seen in many cases, the issue isn't necessarily with teachers' salaries. I think the issue is more with the higher level
Yes, it-
administrative
I
salaries.
absolutely agree.
And I think that's some of the bloating that's really frustrating to taxpayers. And the school boards need to open up and be accountable to that. And if it's a necessary thing to have, then they need to have the discussion with the voters and explain why it is and let the voters be able to vote on that. And then it's on the voters if they're saying, yes, we can do this. But I mean, without that happening, the lack of it, it's creating the exact frustration that you were discussing.
I also want accountability, right? If I go in and I see that the school board is asking for X number of tax dollars per thousand valuation in my house this year, then I want to see some progress. Okay, what were the students' grades this year?
Exactly. No,
Right?
I agree
I want
with you.
accountability. You want a raise, I want performance.
And this is one of the reasons.
Every other entity, every private entity in the country, your raises are based on your outcomes. If you don't perform, if the product that you are producing is not a quality product, you're not getting a raise.
And this is one of the reasons that we've worked so hard on the EFA programs, that the students can have a choice, the parents can have a choice for what is the best learning environment for the students. Listen, we have some great public schools out there. We honestly do.
And they work
But
great.
they're not always the right choice for a student. And the parents need to be able to have that option. That has always been my focus. Let's make sure the options are available so the parents are involved and they can decide and be a part of what is working well for their children to learn. What environment works for them. Myself, I came through a public education system. I got most of what I needed, I guess. I'm here, I've done all right. But I've seen some situations where it just doesn't work for whatever reason, whether it being bullying issues or just maybe an environment where the student isn't thriving in that. They need a little different curriculum, they need a smaller classroom, whatever the reason may be. The parents need to be able to have that choice, and that's important.
And then we give that choice to the parents. People take those EFAs, they take their students, they put them somewhere else. Those students thrive, they do much better. But then you have
And
the
it
other
costs,
side.
and it costs the state
Less.
way less money.
It costs less money, but then you have the local school boards and the liberal advocates complaining that the EFAs are taking money away from the local, and that's why they have to raise. It's all garbage.
Well, that's not a factual statement.
Exactly.
Because we have put more money into
Exactly.
the public
But
school
they're
system.
using the
every
EFAs
I understand.
as an emotional. Hey, we're gonna pretend that this money should have belonged over here at your school, but instead the state's spending money over here, and that's not true.
But the state has made these schools whole for a few years. It's not a cliff effect. There's a ramp down so that they have the ability to prepare properly through their budget process for the fact that their enrollment may be changing due to that. And we've not seen the mass exodus that they was.
No.
Oh, no,
that
we
was
never
claimed.
do. We never see the disasters, the doom and gloom that
Right.
any Democrat ever predicts.
But
Not just on school, but on everything.
But we have to have those respectful conversations. We have to make sure that everyone's voice is heard. That's important. Good ideas are not partisan. They come from both sides of the aisle. And we just have to make sure that civil discourse is occurring, that we're
But we
having
also-
those conversations.
I absolutely agree.
But we also have to
These-
call it crap when it's crap.
Exactly.
And I'm sorry,
have
but
to
we
be-
do.
We have to be very firm with the things that are
Yes, we
complete
do.
lies and complete disasters and
Which
and
dials back to that
historically
ad you were
inaccurate.
talking about
We
earlier.
absolutely have to crack down on that because
Yes.
historically we as Republicans have been very soft on that. Right? I think I mentioned this before. When somebody on the other side says something that's so completely absurd that we
That can't be true, you say.
we think, you know what, that's not even worth my effort to even acknowledge that they said something that's stupid,
Yeah.
right? And so we do the polite thing and we just say, okay, we'll just let them dig their own grave, right? But instead of digging their own grave, they gather moss and they become this huge thing, and then 5 years later, we're fighting this transgender's bathroom issue that should never have become an issue in the first place if we just slapped it down hard as soon as it reared its ugly head.
Well, that's been a difficult issue that we've been trying to address in the legislature, and we've put forth many renditions of what we felt was appropriate language, and, we had Governor Sununu didn't see eye to eye with the legislature, and Governor Ayotte hasn't either, so we're gonna have to continue to work on this, and, we're not giving up. I assure you, that is a battle that will continue into the next legislative session.
I didn't really mean to turn the conversation.
It's okay.
It was an example because this transgender thing started maybe 10 years ago, and then it just started gathering steam, and we weren't paying attention to the gathering of steam of these lies and bad ideas and all of that stuff, right? And so now it's a mountain to overcome, right? But that's the same with the EFA accounts and the lies that are around that. It's the same with the lies that they come up with about anything that we do that's actually beneficial to the state.
Well, I think you're seeing that play out in the Democratic Party right now. If you're watching these elections in other states, the primary elections, you're seeing these Democrat socialists who are starting to gain a head of steam. And I think that our mainstream Democratic Party members are really going to have to start paying attention, or they're going to lose their party to this. And the American people aren't going to be supportive of that. And that's going to really cause them, I think, in the long run, to lose some seats. That's my opinion. They're going to lose some control because you're going to see a lot of people come out and push back when you start moving toward really strong socialist or even communist type values. And if that's what the Democratic Party is going to push.
See what happens at the next mayoral vote in New York City. Because
you may have pockets where they will stay there. I mean, offering free stuff, everybody wants free stuff, right?
I've seen a lot of Democrats who said they voted for Mamdani and have said, you know what, now that I see it, I don't want nothing to do with it.
I think you're right, and that's my point.
And hopefully that starts happening. Yeah. Hopefully it's like, wait a minute,
they're going to have to wake up. They're going to have to wake up, and they're really going to have to start putting their thumb down on this, because if they don't, they're going to swing to a direction where they're going to move so out of contact with the general American voter, which many of them are Democrat or independent. They're going to start losing that independent middle, because they're not going to move toward those socialist and almost communist values. They're really not. But that's their issue to deal with, and we have our own as well.
Well, like I said, the whole point is when these things start showing up, we have to hit them hard as soon as they show up, and not dismiss it as, hey, that'll never gain traction, right? Like I said, whether it's on a finance issue or a social issue, we have to be more aggressive at the outstart when these things start.
Well, and I'll dial it back to something I said earlier, with Heather running as a delegate. It's important because that's what sets our party values. Yep. And that's what I think the Democrats are starting to lose, is they let some folks get in there that are setting their platform in such a direction that it's causing them some issues. And again, that's why it's important with people like Heather and other members, yourself, you've served there as well. It's important that we have that representation, that a good, solid, Republican values in our case that are representative of what our Republican base really feels. I mean, we've had some concerns with some policies that have made it as well that kind of go a little too far, in my opinion, in a different direction. And we want to, but that's why we have this process, and I think it's wonderful.
And it is a good process.
Excuse me.
So when I was a delegate, and Heather, you'll find this out. It was a little eye-opening. Mm-hmm. We had the county meeting.
I'm sorry.
And then we went to the state meeting, right? But my first county meeting, we had several. Somebody who I had known for a while and actually trusted, and was a state rep at the time, because the state reps are delegates, came to me and tried to browbeat me into supporting a position that was not me, right? And it was a position concerning the abortion issue, right? He says, well, we can't really get this, but we want to, get at least some of this, and we have to play nice. And I'm like, that's not what I'm here for. I'm not here to compromise on what I believe, and so I'm not going to do that just because you and I are friends, and so, but that county level discussion turned into, okay, here's our stance here at the county level, and then we went to the state meeting, and everybody kind of, everything gets rewritten again, and so it is a process. But what, again, the first thing that shocked me was like, okay, people that I thought I was on the same page with are now trying to get me to compromise, right? So that was kind of a shocker. But at the same time, it was a civil process, right? We had a discussion. We went through this process, and so even amongst folks who are of the same party and of ultimately the same, conservative values, we have to have those discussions because we do get along, but it doesn't mean we agree on everything.
You don't have to.
Exactly.
You don't have to agree on everything as long as you come with an
But based on what I've seen from the other party, I don't think those meetings on their side go that way. I think it's, you're going to do this or else you're going to be exiled.
Yeah.
Right?
I think
You're
they do-
told to toe party line or
I think
else.
they do a lot more
But that didn't
sanction
happen.
threatening.
That didn't happen in the GOP. So.
Yeah.
No, I think you have found, I think you will find that those discussions are going to occur, and that it is it's a great process, and you'll find that there may be some very passionate discussion, but it won't be a situation where you're going to walk out of there with somebody forcing you or feeling like that you have to go in a certain direction. That you'll be elected to do and serve the things that you represent that you will.
Absolutely.
It's one thing. Funny story. I had a constituent who happened to be an old friend. I've known them a long time, and they would email me regularly. We didn't happen to agree on several key important issues, which is okay, but I always welcome the emails because that's how I learn.
Right.
And finally, I said to this person, I sent back a letter because they said, you never vote the way I ask you to. And I said, I appreciate you bringing your opinions to me, but you're one person of many that are writing to me. And I said, the things that you're asking me to vote are completely contrary to what I ran on when I was saying this is what I would do.
Yeah.
If I actually voted the way you wanted to me, I would hope nobody would ever vote for me again, because it would then be completely contrary to what I said I was going to do. And then I shouldn't be there. It's just something to remember, I guess, is that we don't always agree, and sometimes when you may reach out to one of your elected officials and represent a position that you feel is really important, and they do listen,
Yeah.
but it doesn't necessarily mean we're always going to be able to vote.
Yeah, I mean, somebody once said to me that if we always agreed with each other, one of us wasn't needed.
That's true.
It is true.
It'd be pretty boring, too.
Isn't that something that Patton said, or
Similar.
General Eisenhower? One of them said if everybody in the room is agreeing, then nobody's thinking.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Like, that,
Right.
He gets thousands of emails,
Yeah.
and he reads them, and he actually hears what they're trying to say, but you're not always going to agree.
right.
But you have to agree that you're going to disagree.
Well, it's not in
But I'm-
line with the values
But
that
I'm
I
sure,
represented.
I'm sure
I would
that reading
cover.
these, I am positive that this is the case, that you'll go through all of these emails, and then you will find one that initially you started reading thinking, I'm not going to agree with this person, but then they'll make a point that'll make you stop and think. And you will at least think about it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it will influence your next
Sure.
decision.
Well, I'll go back to something I just said a few minutes ago. Good ideas are not partisan.
Right.
They come from both sides of the aisle, and you learn from having that exchange of information and ideas in a respectful manner. I may not leave embracing your idea, but it doesn't mean that I didn't learn something from it. I at least have a better understanding of why you feel that way,
Right.
and why you view the situation that way. And perhaps that helps me to reassess why I view the situation that way. One of two things will happen. I may move a little toward the direction that you see it because of the information you provided, or I may stand even stronger on the position because you've really put into place why I firmly believe the way I do. But it's always a learning experience. It's been a wonderful experience for me to be there. I'm just wrapping up, excuse me, my 10th year in the legislature, 6 in the House and 4 in the Senate. And I can tell you just the the
You
network
must be
of
filthy
people.
rich with all that salary. Wow, 10 years.
The network of people that I have had, contact with, and the ideas exchange and the things that I have learned has helped me on a tremendous amount of personal growth too. Just it greatly expanded my area of knowledge of things that I didn't know from the life path I had prior to being in the legislature. So it's been a wonderful experience, and I know Heather has expressed some interest at some point in time when life presents some time about doing it, and I would strongly encourage it. I think our citizen legislature that we have, the 24 senators, but more importantly, the 400 House members, is just an absolutely wonderful experience for everyone there. I mean, we see a huge turnover every election, especially on the House side, about 33%, roughly a third of them turnover. And, many are single term and out. But I promise you, every one of them left with an experience that they will never forget and learned some things while they were there.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, you learn so much. The thing that I don't quite get, maybe I was a slow learner, but
well, I don't want to say anything.
But it's a special.
Are you looking for
I'm
an archivist?
special, so
All right, we're all in agreement today.
oh my God. Okay.
No, please continue.
You got to bring me back to it. What were we talking about?
You being a slow learner? Oh, no,
The what?
no, the things you learned while you're in the
Yeah, I
House.
mean, you do learn a lot. And one of the things that you probably learn is whether you could be more successful or more helpful not in the State House. I can remember sitting there for hours overnight. I mean, and I'm saying to myself, well, if I didn't run next time, could I be more helpful? And the answer was yes. So, I enjoyed while I was there, and there are days when I wish I had run for Senate again, but I think that you get to the point where you say, okay, I'll feed my senators and my state reps and Lisa Mazer what I want her to hear from me, because I can do it. I can be an activist again, which is kind of. I started with the Tea Party. That's when I first started in this game.
Yeah.
And-
There's you brought up a point. So being an activist, there's a lot of people that are great activists, but they struggle as a legislator because there's a bit of difference
Oh,
between
yeah.
the two.
Yeah.
In order to really be a successful legislator, you really have to have the ability to listen to the other people that are there, the other legislators, and be able to find compromise of what you can move forward. Mm-hmm. And it's not always exactly what you want. Sometimes it's a piece of what you want, but you're moving forward. And I know that frustrates the activists sometimes who haven't been legislators because you didn't get what I wanted. Well, we're moving there. I got some of what you wanted, and I couldn't get all of what you wanted because I couldn't build consensus enough around the issue the way you wanted it. So the answer sometimes is you take a little or you get zero. And I don't know about you, but as long as things are moving in the direction that I want, I have to be patient, and I have to accept that it may take me several bites of the apple to get there.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's a good point, and that's exactly why I can't be a legislator. Because I get frustrated at the process.
I understand.
But I understand the process.
Yes.
I understand that you're working for me, but I do get frustrated at it, so don't take that personally. And with that, I think we're done.
Yeah, next week we have Holly Novaleski on.
Holly's coming
As
on.
we're getting close to the primaries, I thought it'd be a good time to get her on. So,
Sure.
So thanks again for coming and bringing me fruit and vegetables and corn and I didn't get any fruit actually.
No
but-
fruit. But we did bring you summer squash, corn. Well, the fruits of the tree.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
the fruits of our labor.
I was just going to say that the fruits of your labor.
All right.
Thanks, Ryan.
We'll see you next week.
See-